Hello and welcome to HISD Up Close. I'm HISD Board President Michael Lunceford. Coming up on today's show, the district has a new and improved curriculum that is designed to equip our students with the skills they will need to be successful. We'll learn more about the plan, who designed it, and get reaction from teachers. Plus, my fellow board member, Juliet Stipeche, stops by to talk about some of the exciting things happening in her district. That's all today on HISD Up Close. And it begins right now. Preparing our students for the future requires action on our part today. That's why HISD has recently revised and updated its curriculum to ensure that all of our students are prepared for college or a career once they graduate. Take a look.
And what country are you in?
Zambia.
Just click in there.
We're building our future right now. Our children are our future.
We're trying to train mathematicians or scientists or writers.
As our world changes, so does the skill set that our students will need to be successful.
We want kids to understand things at a deep level, not superficially.
We want to make sure that they are strong critical thinkers, they're problem solvers.
We want them to be college ready. We want them to be career ready.
Preparing our students for the future requires action on our part today. That's why HISD has revised and updated its current curriculum to take students to the next level.
We needed to look at the curriculum and say, no, this is a good curriculum, but the standards have changed.
In the past few years, we've had the new Texas College and Career Readiness Standards, so we have to maintain a curriculum that will keep up with the new standards.
Over the past 8 months, staff from around the district met to analyze current practices, review research, and solicit the knowledge from the best and the brightest teachers within HISD.
As a teacher, it's great to know that you were a part of this process, that other teachers were a part of it.
Every teacher in the district had an opportunity to provide suggestions to the curriculum department.
In addition, scholars from Rice University and the University of Texas, as well as literacy experts from NYHouse, reviewed the curriculum and gave their input.
If we want to have a world-class curriculum, we want to have the best thinking of everyone, because it's all about the best possible product for our kids.
The end result is a more rigorous curriculum that is aligned to the state's English language proficiency standards, college and career readiness standards, as well as the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, or TEKS. It also will prepare students for the new state assessment known as STAR, but it is not designed to teach to the test.
If the curriculum's good and the lessons are good, teachers can teach at such a high level the test takes care of itself.
The revised curriculum will also prepare students for several national assessments, including Stanford, NAEP, and even advanced placement exams. But beyond meeting all standards, it will also meet the needs of all children through differentiated learning strategies.
Differentiation means that you're able to have a lesson that you can hit different levels of your students.
It allows us to see the areas of weaknesses for the different children so that we can provide them the type of instruction that they need.
You will pair a positive with a negative, right?
So you may have the students that are not performing at grade level. You can have that lesson modified so that it reaches that student.
Those kids who come in already ready to move on to the next level, if you differentiate it, you're able to meet them where they are and take them exactly where they need to go.
We actually have embedded in the curriculum pre-AP and AP strategies. It's really curriculum that meets the needs, I think, of all kinds of learners, and I don't believe that anyone's been forgotten.
Also built into the new curriculum are formative assessments, or checks for understanding.
Checking for understanding is probably the most important thing that teachers can do.
You want to know that at the end of the day, your students are ready for the next step, for the next level of knowledge.
We need to know when to reteach. If we wait till the end, it's too late.
All right.
The updated curriculum is also designed to be student-centered, so children are engaged in their learning.
We have literacy strategies embedded, and literacy strategies are really just student engagement strategies.
That means that the teacher takes less of a managing type role and takes more of a facilitating type role and allows the students to be the leaders of instruction.
But most importantly, the new curriculum equips teachers with the tools they need to be effective, all in a redesigned template that is user-friendly and saves teachers time.
We really looked closely at the curriculum that we've had in the past, and we have streamlined the information.
We've looked at all of the standards, and we've put it all together so that they don't have to go and do all that work.
It's really, really nice instead of having to be in a district where you have to go do the searching and you have to pull, because that's so time consuming.
There are resources in there, so if I don't quite know where to find something, I could look in there, click on the links, and use the resources there.
It's available 24/7 because it's on the portal.
And it's designed to work hand in hand with the district's teacher appraisal and development system.
When you have the curriculum there to kind of guide you, that's always more comforting, and it always helps you shine more, because with the better foundation of knowledge you have, the stronger of a teacher I believe you'll be.
And when teachers are more effective, our students can soar to new heights.
HISD is really headed in the right direction to assure that not just at some schools, but at every school in this district, the students are going to receive the quality education that they deserve and need. Whew.
Joining me now to talk more about the new curriculum are HISD's Curriculum and Instruction Officer, Nancy Gregory, HISD's Director of Literacy, Carol Bedard, and teachers, Shirlene McEwen and Henry Morgan. Thank you all for joining me today, and I'm going to start with you, Nancy.
Yes,
Maybe tell us, why do we need a new curriculum? What is a curriculum?
I think those are two very good questions. So let me start with the first. Why do we need a new one? We need a new curriculum because several years ago, 4 to be exact in terms of English language arts, the state rewrote the English language arts curriculum, K through 12. And this past year, we have implemented the new science standards, and then a year from this August, we will have new math standards.
Okay, so standards and curriculum. So it's basically the state says you need to learn A, B,
yes.
C, and then the curriculum is how the application to learn
yes.
that?
So I think in terms of, when I say standards, maybe I should say learning targets. So we have learning targets, and they are definitely more rigorous. And we have studied them across the state, so we know when they said they would be more rigorous, yes, they were held true to their promise. The standards are much more demanding. So we began the process of looking at the standards, looking at the curriculum, really scrutinizing it, studying it, and we put together teams of teachers from across the district because we wanted it to be a collaborative effort. We didn't want it to be just curriculum people. We wanted to honor and value the wisdom and the experience of our teachers, 2 of whom are here today, and we will introduce shortly. We have focus groups, and we had an online survey. We have really asked every single teacher in the district to give feedback, either to write it, or to revise it, or to give feedback. And we heard from thousands of teachers, and the reviews have been just glowing.
Now, I know that I've been told that this is student-centered. Maybe you can tell us what exactly that means.
The section of the curriculum that addresses instructional considerations has ideas that teachers need to think about to address the needs of every single student in the class. So if I have ELL learners and I'm teaching vocabulary, here's what I need to think about. If I have GT kids and I'm doing vocabulary, here's what I need to think about. Then, because we're gluttons for punishment and perfectionistic, we didn't stop there. We wanted to be able to say, okay, here's what you have to think about and here's what you can do. So a section of the template offers strategies to use to teach vocabulary or reading or a math concept.
Well, I know that one of the problems that HISD suffers in mostly all urban districts is a high, our students read at a level lower than the level they're in. And
yes.
Carol, I'll address this to you. As a Director of Literacy, maybe you can explain the curriculum and how we're going to get everybody up to where they need to be, which is a monumental task.
Well, one of the things is the curriculum is very rich with both reading and writing activities. But additionally, there's a large component for oral language. We're really addressing oral language in the primary grades. And for some of the older students, especially grades 4 through 12, there's a lot of emphasis on reading across the content areas. So, and the teachers can discuss this a little bit more, but in every document there are texts that they can refer to because a lot of the texts are informational texts, and that's something that we're really emphasizing in this curriculum is informational texts, so that students will know how to read a newspaper, how to read a article, a magazine. And there's a lot of emphasis on science and social studies texts. So that's another big emphasis. And finally, on almost all of the activities are geared for students to really be thinking. They can't just read an article, they have to analyze it, really reflect on it, tear it apart, put it together. What's there? What does the author say and what's not there? And so throughout the curriculum, there's activities to encourage that higher level thinking, to encourage oral language development, and like Mrs. Gregory alluded to earlier, a big emphasis on vocabulary.
Nancy, maybe tell us how and when were the principals and teachers trained?
Well, the principals were trained during the month of June, during June leadership. We had curriculum and TDS who designed workshops and sessions so that we could walk the principals and other campus leaders through the curriculum so they would be fully versed in what's there. And then in the month of July, we repeated those trainings, more targeted though towards teachers, so a little bit different elements, and we walked the teachers through everything they needed to know. What is in the curriculum, look at the formative assessments, look at the resources, look at the standards. We did that during the month of July and the first week of August. And we will repeat these trainings during the school year.
Great. Shirlene, you're a teacher at Stevenson Middle School. And Henry, you teach at Rice. Tell us your involvement. Shirlene, tell us how you got into it and why you're excited about this, because there's a lot of teachers out there maybe aren't. So because it's a change, and change is tough.
Yes, change is tough, you're right. One thing that inspired me about getting involved in this curriculum is because I noticed the need for my students to succeed and to reach ultimate levels on their content that I was teaching them.
And they come from all kinds of backgrounds.
Exactly.
And so you got to figure out how are we going to get everybody to the same level.
Right. Well, the diversity of our students depends on, you know, their ethnicities, their different backgrounds and things of that nature. So as a teacher, we have to look at all of those things in our classrooms and try and make sure that we reach them on a level, on their particular level, and bring them upward, because we want them to succeed in their classroom.
And you're a science teacher, so
yes.
Did you focused on the science curriculum?
Exactly, exactly. And with that curriculum, we, myself and other people that were invited to participate in the curriculum initiative, we looked at our students and how they were performing as a whole, not just our particular classroom, but we know as far as all over HISD, and we wanted to make sure that we reached all of those children, and we wanted to make it as rigorous as possible because we want them to be college career ready, and we want them to reach the standards, not just for Texas, but all over the country, no matter where they go. So that's one thing.
Henry, tell us about the math, because you know, I know we've had in our Apollo schools a big focus on math, but in the regular schools, I mean, I'm an engineer. Math is easy for me, you know, so I don't understand people who struggle with math, but it's very common. Tell us about how you see the changes in curriculum.
Well, like we were discussing earlier about the literacy components, I think that's really a new addition to these documents that is really helpful. They offer very specific ways to involve writing. Every single one of the documents offers a way to have students write and read about math, you know, which is, I think, very new to these documents.
Yeah, it's funny. My attitude, I make the comment that the world is not made up of nice little equations. The world is a word problem.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
if you can't read, you're not going to be able to solve the math or handle the science. So you really, the literacy to me is the key component to everything. And so somehow you have to figure out, are the students learning or not? And you can call it a formative assessment, you can call it a test. It's a way for the teacher to judge, am I getting this across to the students? Are they understanding?
There are examples of that, but there's also options for the teacher, quick end of class type exit tickets that could be an activity that students then share or discuss, or perhaps it's a writing sample, or there's lots of different ways that students can demonstrate their understanding, and those options are in the curriculum.
And one of the things, I'm going to piggyback on Henry's comment, because one of the things is these nice little quick assessments can then inform the instruction for the next day. So a teacher just gets just a little touch of what the students have learned, and then they can adjust their teaching for the very next day. And so that's really what we're looking for.
I'm, you know, getting old, I guess. I can remember when I was in college and in engineering, one of the professors, he looked out into class and he goes, y'all don't have a clue what I'm talking about, right? So he said, okay, I need to reteach what I taught. So it's kind of to get a better feel for where are you at. You know, do you really understand? Do you know what? Have you learned what we think you're supposed to? And not a full-fledged test where you have to shut down the program and focus on the test and study for the test. It's an assessment.
And one step even further is that when the teacher knows what the students have learned, they can differentiate instruction. So maybe one student needs a little bit more help with vocabulary. Another student got the vocabulary, but they might need help with some of the concepts, so they can differentiate the instruction the very next day.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
Coming up, fellow board member Juliet Stipeche joins me to talk about some of the exciting things happening in schools in District 8. Don't go away. HISD Up Close will be right back.